That's fine there.
Yeah, that's fine. Is it okay?
Yeah.
I just wanted to pull it out here real quick.
That's fine. Put this off switch. The script should say 500 on it. Just need to make sure it's over 500. Is this your? Is that level for you? Yeah. Just anybody I can move. That's good. Okay, it's covered.
Maybe we should move. Once you request on speaking, just like tap. Armistice, not armistice. 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 No, armistice. Yeah. Armistice. Yes. Sometimes you say you're doing armistice. Armistice. It's not that. It's armistice. Yeah, you have to say like quicker. Like armistice. Not armistice. 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 Yeah. Whatever. If I say armistice day, I'll get the point across. All that matters is it's armistice. I will apologize. Do not say sorry and then armistice. Sorry, I'm an armistice. Okay. Oh crap. You want me to tap it? Yeah, whenever you get up there. Me and Mr. Marie. Me and Marie actually made a type of this stuff. I know. What do you do to get type of this right now? I just ended up telling you I was going to the radio station. And I was told his brother was there, and now we're typing.
guys are good to go?
I think so. Okay.
Yeah. You both look really good.
Thank you.
And you're going to do really well. You know what the number is for the...
Yeah, over 500.
Over 500. Whatever it winds up being at. We'll make it over 500. And that makes it a nice round number for you guys to read on. Okay. The main thing is the show must go on. Just if anything doesn't work out the way you'd like it to, just roll with it. It'll be fine. Everybody was fed.
Yeah.
No fires were started. We're good.
I felt like I was catching fever. Like,
How long was he doing this for before I tapped it?
I don't
I
know.
was talking to you and completely forgot about it.
I don't know. I don't think it was that long. Maybe
10, 5 or 10 seconds.
I think they're getting a cure for Alzheimer's, which I'm very happy about. I think that it's like a prevention. Like they're starting to like give interventions for it and stuff like that, which I'm very thankful for.
At least once, they say once you diagnose Alzheimer's, you have technology.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jack. I think we should do good for rabies vaccine.
I'm not sure about the rabies vaccine. I did not know that. I know my cousin's whole family had rabies vaccine. But you guys got it. I feel like
First year, 3 years.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm
How's it
Joe
going?
Pittman.
Yeah.
Isaac?
Yeah,
Nice to see you.
Caleb.
Caleb? Okay, you guys are in charge?
Yeah.
Student council president of the class of 2023.
Alright. That was 1995 the purchase line. A long time ago.
Yeah.
I used to look at Chevy decals here.
I bet. Good afternoon, and welcome to our Veterans Day Assembly. Please rise for the posting of our nation's colors by American Legion, Post 222. We ask that everyone please remain standing until the Pledge of Allegiance and our national anthem. It is my honor to invite to the stage 3 Penns Manors veterans. Teacher Miss Kim Bodick, who served in the United States Marine Corps. Head of Maintenance, Mark Dalton, who served in the United States Air Force. And long-term substitute teacher, Mr. Greg Marsh, who served in the United States Air Force. Yesterday, Mr. Marsh was approved as a captain in the Air Force Reserves. We would like to acknowledge his continued service to our school and our country. Thank you, Mr. Marsh. We will now be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Penns Manors veterans. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Welcome to the Penns Manor High School's Salute to Our Country's Veterans. I am Student Council President Isaac Barnhart. On behalf of our school, I would like to welcome students, faculty, and guests. I would especially like to welcome all of the veterans in attendance today. For several years, health concerns have kept us from welcoming members of the community to our assembly. Today, we welcome back the veterans and community members who attended the luncheon. Veterans Day is Saturday, November the 11th. It is a national holiday, and there will be parades and ceremonies throughout the area. But what exactly is Veterans Day? Veterans are the men and women who have served their country in the armed forces. Veterans Day began as Armistice Day, which was a day celebrating the end of World War I. November 11th is the anniversary of the armistice, or ceasefire, which was signed by the Allies and the Germans in 1918, ending World War I. It was signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. In November of 1919, President Woodrow Wilson issued his Armistice Day proclamation, calling on Americans to remember veterans on the anniversary. In 1926, a congressional resolution gave Armistice Day its official name. Congress later declared Armistice Day as a national holiday. After World War II, many new veterans returned home from Europe and the Pacific. Because of this, it was felt that the holiday should be renamed. The name of the holiday was officially changed to Veterans Day on May 24th, 1954, by an act of Congress. In October of that year, President Dwight David Eisenhower called on all citizens to observe Veterans Day by recognizing, remembering, and honoring the sacrifices of all veterans.
Good afternoon. My name is Caleb Joyner, and I am the president of the class of 2024. Penns Manor students and staff have a tradition of supporting veterans. Each Veterans Day, the Penns Manor School District reaches out to the community to serve veterans in our community. This year, we were again able to invite community members and local veterans to share in a luncheon. Met's Culinary Management, Chef Wirtz, and the cafeteria staff have once again done an outstanding job of preparing a delicious meal for all our guests. Thank you to our cafeteria staff. Penns Manor students have also done their part over the years. Students have sent care packages overseas to Iraq and Afghanistan. They have made wreaths to honor fallen veterans and participated in community events like Wall That Heals, a Vietnam War monument replica that came to Indiana County in 2019. Students have also raised funds for veterans causes. Past fundraisers include the Indiana County Veterans Home, the Indiana County Veterans Relief Fund, and the county chapter of Disabled American Veterans. Penns Manor has also supported the Indiana County Veterans Parsonage and the Western Pennsylvania Veterans Relief Fund. Elementary school students have done their part as well, making donations, writing cards and letters, and decorating our walls for visiting veterans. 4th and 5th grade students also took part in this year's fundraiser. The Wounded Warrior Project began in 2003 as a small grassroots effort, providing simple care and comfort items to the hospital bedsides of the first wounded service members returning home from conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan. As their post-service needs evolved, so have their programs and services. Today, through direct programs in mental health, career counseling, and long-term rehabilitative care, Wounded Warrior Project improves the lives of millions of warriors and their families.
For me, it started with a backpack and a promise. The promise was that Wounded Warrior Project would always be there for me. And as I've continued on my journey, Wounded Warrior Project has kept that promise every single day.
Hopping on that bike and seeing that smile on my brother that I haven't seen in so long, and be able to do something with my brother, it was life-changing for me.
They've given me education They've given me a smile. They've given me this huge extended family.
It's a great privilege to lead an organization that is firmly committed to changing the lives of wounded warriors and their families. What a mighty goal we have set for ourselves. But I can think of nothing more precious than what we have set out to do together.
Those 5 days that I got to spend with my brothers were the first 5 days that I saw hope in years.
Warriors to Work helped me find a job where I was happy going to work.
My wife and I, as caregivers, ask you, beg you, to get the caregiver bill passed.
That was the moment it was finally official, and it meant so much for me to be there with Wounded Warrior Project.
It doesn't even matter to some of these guys if they catch fish or not. They're just happy to be in a boat and happy to be out with someone else.
Wounded Warrior Project has given my children the dad that they deserve and need. And it's given my wife, Ashley, the husband that she thought she was marrying 14 years ago.
Jason's part of the Wounded Warrior Project Independence Program.
We have confidence that Wounded Warrior Project has Jason's best interests in mind.
Are you proud of that, Luke? You earned it. You sure did.
Sure did.
Now I have like 50,000 brothers and sisters I can call anywhere, anytime. It's like made the difference.
It was just so good for him, and he really did. He really did come back to life at that time period.
There are guys that have lost so much, and they shouldn't have to lose their ability to have a family.
It's just so exciting and so powerful to think about the impact that one organization can make on the whole world.
Since 2003, Wounded Warrior Project has improved the lives of millions of warriors and their family members, and there's still work to be done.
The Wounded Warrior Project requires the passion and commitment of friends, supporters, and organizations, including schools like Penns Manor. Through their donations, students and staff are helping honor and empower wounded warriors in our community and across the nation. This year, Penns Manor raised over $500 that will be donated to the Wounded Warrior Project. At this time, the Penns Manor High School Band will play America the Beautiful.
It is now time to recognize the veterans attending today's assembly. The Penns Manor Band will now play a medley of the armed service anthems. We ask that veterans in attendance please rise to be recognized when the anthem of their service is played. When the anthem for your service is done, please take your seat. We are pleased to have several guest speakers with us today. Our first speaker is State Representative Jim Struzzi. Representative Struzzi won election in November of 2018 to represent the 62nd Legislative District. He graduated from Penn Trafford High School in Westmoreland County, earned a degree in electrical wiring from a technical school in McKees Rocks near Pittsburgh, and acquired his bachelor's degree in English from the University of Pittsburgh in Greensburg. Representative Struzzi has worked as a journalist, as press secretary with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation District 11, and as president of the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Penns Manor, Representative Struzzi.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. I think it's truly amazing that Penns Manor holds this assembly every year, and I've been here every year that we were able to be here since I took office, and it is profoundly moving to see so many people in the room celebrating our veterans and what they mean to our great nation. I want to thank all the veterans that are here today, those who have served in the past, those currently serving, and those who will serve in the future. What veterans do for our country cannot be overstated. It is so fundamentally important that we celebrate our veterans because of what they give to our lives. And I hope that all the young people at Penns Manor today can appreciate just how important veterans are to our nation. Their sacrifices enable you to live the lives that you live, to have the freedoms that you have, to know that when you go to bed at night, our nation is protected and safe, and that has happened for centuries because of our veterans. They uphold what makes America great. They fight around the world to make sure that our values are represented and that our freedoms hold true. So this coming Saturday on Veterans Day and every day, take the opportunity to thank a veteran for what they have given to you. And that is your opportunities in this great nation, your opportunities in life, your freedom, because it doesn't come free. It comes with a sacrifice, and veterans are the ones who are willing to make that sacrifice for all of us. So thank you, veterans, thank you, Penns Manor, and God bless America.
Penns Manor is pleased to welcome State Senator Joe Pittman. Senator Pittman represents Pennsylvania's 41st Senatorial District. The senator is a 1995 graduate of Purchase Line High School and a 1998 graduate of Penn State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in political science. Senator Pittman serves as chairman of the Senate Urban Affairs and Housing Committee and vice chairman of the Senate Environmental Resources and Energy Committee. He also serves as the Senate Republican Caucus representative on the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority, PennVest, Board of Directors. Welcome to Penns Manor, Senator Pittman.
Good afternoon. It truly is an honor to be here this afternoon, and it's especially gratifying to have the community back here. This has been too long ago that the community was able to be here and be part of this program. And I think that's what's most important, is that we bring the community in, we bring the veterans and their families in, so the students can see and hear and understand firsthand those who've served our country. And I think we saw a lot of it in the presentation about the Wounded Warrior Project. You know, I think we have to remember that the sacrifice that our veterans have given is not just their sacrifice, but it's the sacrifice of their entire family. It really is truly a sacrifice that's been made by so many who support veterans, not only during their time of service, but also when they come home, when they've been fortunate enough to return home. And my hope is, as Representative Struzzi said, that we all remember the sacrifice that veterans have made, and that we honor that sacrifice. I said to some students yesterday in Derry at their assembly at the Derry School District that so much of what we are obligated to do is to serve our communities and to try to make our communities even better than the way we've inherited them. Many of you, I hope and pray, will serve our country in the military, and I pray that all of you who do serve return home. But for those that don't serve in the military, understand there are many other ways to serve your community and your nation. And we truly have an obligation to do that. And I'm very impressed that already, as this student body has demonstrated, a willingness to step forward and to support the community on a number of levels. But the Wounded Warrior Project is just one example of that support. And so I ask you to continue that support. I ask you to remember and recognize, as Representative Struzzi said, why we're able to have our freedoms today and why we're able to assemble as we are today and why we're able to have the speech and the freedom to express our points of view as we are today. So thank you for continuing to do this program and this ceremony. And again, it's so gratifying to have the community back with us to better demonstrate how important remembering our veterans, not just on Veterans Day, but every day truly is. God bless you all.
It is my honor to welcome Army veteran Colonel Shirley Turinsky. Colonel Turinsky is a 27-year veteran of the United States Army. She has served her country as an exceptional leader, teacher, and problem solver that has improved the delivery of anesthesia services in the United States Army Medical Department. Colonel Turinsky has served as an author of the Pulmonary Agent chapter to the Medical Management of Chemical Casualty Handbook for the United States Army Medical Research Institute of Chemical Defense. She was senior editor and author of 5 chapters in the textbook Medical Aspects of Chemical Warfare. She was deployed for all phases of the Gulf War and Operation Iraqi Freedom. Please help me welcome to the podium Colonel Shirley Turinsky.
I say my husband is my editor. You know, I had a speech this long, he's no, 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 you know. So I cut it down to 1 page. But I still, as many people that go to my church would know, I'm supposed to give them the updates of what we're supposed to be doing for the, you know, for the whole month. But I just read the title and then I elaborate on it. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to talk from my heart. Instead of telling you so many facts and everything, I'm going to tell you about experiences, and I'm going to tell you about good experiences, because being in anesthesia for the Army Medical Department and deployed all over the world, there's a lot of experiences that could make you cry, like when we saw The Wounded Warrior. I remember doing anesthesia for some of them. And when I look at them, they always told me thank you. And I had to tell them thank you back, because what they have done, they sacrificed the greatest sacrifice. Although I was there and took care of them and stabilized them to ship them to Germany, and I always wondered, you know, how they did. And then when I got stationed at Walter Reed Bethesda in Maryland, I met a lot of the wounded warriors that I took care of. And it was an honor for me to take care of them again, and they were still very humble. And they would go back tomorrow to defend this great country of ours. Like I told you, I've been everywhere, but there's no place like America, none at all. You can see people that love their country, yes, but all of our veterans love our country and would sacrifice again if they had to do so. I was just telling Sheriff Fyock, when I retired, they told me, we're going to send you a letter when you're no longer able to be called back. Well, I've not received that letter yet. So I keep wondering, well, am I going to get that letter? And I asked my husband, did I get anything from the Department of the Army today? No, I didn't. But I just wanted to tell you that it is an honor to be here in the company of our future leaders. Every one of the students that are sitting in this auditorium today has the potential to be the leader. Women have the potential to be the next president. You know, we have all these people in the band that can go to a symphony and be a great symphony person in the symphony, which I love to hear when they go up to IUP, because it's music to your ears, and I thank you very much. You did an excellent, excellent job. And it's wonderful to see the women doing the brass instruments. You know, when I was younger, they said, oh, you have a choice. You can play flute or clarinet. I go, oh, really? I want to play the drums. No, flute or clarinet. You know, you got to remember, I was raised in the South, and there's a lot of difference in being raised in the North. So, but thank you. It was excellent. The food was excellent. I'm so full, and I could just feel how tight my uniform is. I've been retired a long time, and I was surprised it still fit. So, and I want to thank our senior representatives here for the government. That is the potential for all of you to be, is a representative for all the people that sit in this audience, to represent them and their needs and to make our towns a wonderful place to be. And I want to thank, again, poor Sheriff Fox, I just always pick on him, you know, but he has done so much, and he has represented us for 51 years. I mean, not all in the military, but serving this wonderful community of ours and making it a better place for us to live. So, like they all said, you don't have to go into the military, although, you know, the military offers many, many great things. They can pay for your education. Of course, you got to pay them back with time. And you will make friends in the military that are lifelong friends. They call you on the phone and see what you're doing, and you just love it because you have been so close to them. They're like your family. Well, I'm not going to go into everything I was going to say. I was going to tell you about how in World War II we fought on two fronts. How many people know that we are doing the fight in Europe and the fight in Eastern Asia at the same time? That was very, oh, wow, look at these students, how smart they are, you know? It is such a wonderful thing to know that we did that. And then in Korea War, my father was a Korean veteran. He was in the Navy. And everybody says, oh, it's not dangerous for the people in the Navy. They set in those ships out there in the ocean. What do? That's not true. They get shot, and we do have a lot of Navy people who have received injuries, and many navies come into the hospitals and help us. You know, the Army sets up the hospitals, and then we get people from the Air Force, you know, other people from the Navy. We get reservists that are like a neuro team that is a reserve team that specializes in taking care of neuro patients. And we also get the Navy. And of course they come in and they set up a great big beautiful tent that had air conditioning. So, and when you're in the desert, you think, oh wow, air conditioning, that's great. And then we have our Vietnam War. I just wanted to stress, when our Vietnam vets come back, they were not respected. But I want all of you to know and to remember, if that ever happens again, they were sent to Vietnam by our government. Our government, because when you sign and you raise that right hand, you said, I will protect the Constitution of the United States and pay attention and obey the orders of the President of the United States. So it wasn't their fault they were sent to Vietnam. It wasn't their fault that they were fighting. They said that they were going to protect the United States, and they did a very excellent job at that. And if it ever happens again, you remember that we are sent to fight for our country and our freedom. which we have a freedom that is a wonderful freedom. We have freedom where we can worship. Even when I go and been deployed for years at a time, I can worship in what religion I have to worship. They did have a lot of, Catholics would have to come on a different day, but every Sunday I could go to church. I had Bible studies. I taught Bible studies. And this is a freedom that I thank God for giving us and all the veterans who fought for that freedom. Because right now, like I told my students in Sunday school about veterans, and I said, you need to respect them and pay attention how they teach, because if it wasn't for them, we might be speaking German now. So you need to know that they have done an awful lot for our country. That was only one page. But I don't have too much more to say. I just want to tell you, the military gives you opportunities to do a lot of things. Yes, I did anesthesia many days, every day probably, when I was in the military. But it also gave me the opportunity to write chapters, regulations, joint regulations when we started to join with the Air Force and with the Navy, and to write a textbook. This textbook that I have written and senior edited and write many chapters in is because of the expertise that I have. But this textbook is in every library in the military and every military facilities and all over the world. We no longer just teach our soldiers and their families, but we teach our allies. So I have been to Germany to teach, England to teach, well, London. I was in London, and I've been to Saudi Arabia to teach, because during the first Gulf War, we really thought that we were going to have casualties from chemical agents. So many casualties that they had reefer vans in the back of our ICUs. You know what a reefer van is? I didn't know at that time. But it is one of those great big 18-wheelers that's air conditioned, because they thought we were going to have so many chemical casualties that we would feel that. Thank to our God, we did not have that. And the war went fast. Matter of fact, I think we can probably chart it up as the fastest war in the whole United States. But that is over with. And now in 9/11, when we had the war on terrorism, we were there for that too. However, that I was sent for a special mission, and that mission was to take care of all the detainees that we had, to take care of all the Iraqi forces that at that time was very difficult for me. But due to my Christian religion, I have learned to forgive them, because we had to triage them in a fight the same way that we would triage our military personnel. And that was hard, because in your heart you wanted to take care of your own people first. But God has given me the ability to forgive them, and to forgive how the Geneva Convention told me that I had to do. I want to thank you again for everything that you have done today. I am just thrilled to see all of the students. And just remember, the military does offer many, many opportunities for you. And like one of my sergeant majors told me on his retirement, he says, ma'am, he says, if it wasn't for the military, I probably would be in jail now. He says, but the military saw something in me and saw that I was a good person and I could do a lot. And he says, and now I'm retiring as a command sergeant major in the Army, which is really high up there, I tell you. I mean, we always say command sergeant major, they're above a colonel, because of everything that they know and everything that they do. I want to say thank you again, and I want to say until another day. I will see some of you at another time in my life, just like the color guard. I've seen them many a times. And thank you for listening, and God bless.
We are honored to have Sheriff Robert Fayok with us today. Sheriff Fayok is a Vietnam veteran who served as a military police officer in the United States Army. He has served over 50 years in law enforcement roles, including Chief County Detective, Jail Warden, Deputy Sheriff, and Correctional Officer. Sheriff Fayok is the past president of the Pennsylvania Sheriff's Association and board president of the Open Door Drug and Alcohol Treatment Center. In 2015, Mr. Fayok was the first sheriff recognized as the American Legion Department of Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. Sheriff Fayok will direct Boy Scouts of Troop 10 in Penn Run and Troop 11 in Indiana and volunteer firemen from Clymer, Penn Run, and Pine Township and the American Legion flag floating ceremony.
Good afternoon. Again, I want to say thank you, and what an honor it is for me to continue to be at the Veterans Program at Penns Manor High School. While only one day each year, November 11th, is solely dedicated to honor our veterans, we must never forget the lives that have been lost and many sacrifices by many of our fellow Americans made in order for our country to be free. Our veterans have helped to make the world a better place, and we can never truly repay them of what we owe them. Their service and sacrifices made for our freedoms will never be forgotten. At this time, could I please have all the veterans stand again? I salute each and every one of you, and I thank you for your service. Thank you. There's no better symbol of our country's value and traditions than the flag of the United States. It continues to exemplify the profound commitment to freedom, equality, and the opportunities made by our founders more than 2 centuries ago. The American flag serves as a daily reminder of our country's past accomplishments and its ongoing dedication to safeguarding individual rights. I'm not sure how many of you know how or even why the flag is folded 13 times when it is lowered and handed to the widow or family member at the burial of a veteran. I would like to go over this information with you now as to the meaning of each of these folds. Again, helping me today, I have Scouts and volunteer firefighters from Troop 10 in Penn Run. I have Tyler Mellett, Logan Keith, and Mike Hill. From Troop 11 in Indiana, Ryan Dugas, firefighter from the Cherry Tree Volunteer Fire Department, Corbin Zach and Dallas Leisure. From Clymer Volunteer Fire Department, Isabella Wenzel. From Pine Township Volunteer Fire Department, Temper Fireman and Matt Lower. Here is what the meaning of each of the folds means to you. The first fold of our flag is the symbol of life. The second fold is the symbol of our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veterans departing our ranks who gave a portion of their lives for the defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature, for as American citizens trusting in God, it is to Him we turn in times of peace as well as in times of war for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, for in the words of Stephen Decanter, our country in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to the armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all of our enemies, whether they be found within or without the boundaries of our republic. The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we may see the light of day, and to honor Mother, for whom it flies on Mother's Day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood, for it has been through their faith, their love, and devotion that the character of the men and women who have made this country great has been molded. The 10th fold is a tribute to the Father, for he too has given his sons and daughters for the defense of our country since they were first born. The 11th fold in the eyes of the Hebrew citizen represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon, and glorifies in their eyes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold is in the eyes of the Christian citizen, represents an emblem of eternity, and glorifies in their eyes God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And when the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our nation's motto, "In God we trust." After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who were followed by their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, preserving for us our rights, privileges, and the freedoms which we all enjoy today. Now, the next time you see a flag folding ceremony honoring someone that has served our country, either in the armed forces or as a civilian services, such as law enforcement or the fire departments, please keep in mind the important reasons behind each and every one of these movements. They have paid the ultimate sacrifice for all of us by honoring our flag and our country. May God bless each and every one of you, and may God bless the USA. Thank you.
The Scouts will now present the flag to Colonel Shirley Turinsky. On behalf of Penns Manor High School, I would like to thank you all for attending today's ceremony. Before our flag is retired, we will conclude our program with the playing of taps. Will everyone please rise for the playing of taps and remain standing for the retiring of the colors. Taps will be played by Breezy Horn and Silas Bothell. The honor guard will now retire the colors.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for coming today. This is one of my favorite days of the year. I love to have the veterans come in. I love to hear the stories. I love to speak with them. I love to see all the presenters come and their speeches and the comments that they make. I'm very interested in all the stories of Colonel Terinsky there, and she's talking about the anesthesia and taking care of people. And think of the strength you have to take care of the enemy. When she was explaining that, I was thinking the strength that you have to have as an individual to take care of somebody who just injured your own military. So I commend you. It was very, very interesting to listen to your story, and I'm sure you have many more stories that we've never heard of. One of the things I thought as she was speaking is we talk about sacrifice. We talk about what people give up when they go to the military or the sacrifices that they make. And I am sure she has missed many Christmases, birthdays, holidays, times with her own family to protect you, to protect your families. As with any military person, everybody's looking forward to Thanksgiving. You guys all look forward to it because it's Thanksgiving break. It's time off of school. You're looking forward to Christmas break. What about the people who are overseas and don't get to see their families at the holidays? What about the parents, the father who, his wife is expecting and he gets deployed, and when he comes back, the child is already born and a few months old? You miss that experience. It is all about sacrifice, a selfless sacrifice. They give up their time and their efforts with their families to protect you and your family. And sometimes they give up the ultimate sacrifice and they don't get to come home to their families. So Veterans Day is about appreciating them and appreciating what they give very selflessly so that you can enjoy Christmas break, so you can enjoy Thanksgiving break, so you can enjoy the time with your families. There's a lot of turmoil in the world right now. And a lot of those other countries, kids don't get to make the decision to go to school. They don't feel safe going to school. They are being told that they have to leave their homes and their families. Did anybody have that this morning? No. Everybody slept in a warm bed, everybody got a shower, you put on clean clothes, you have food in your bellies, and you got to come to school. You're very lucky, and it's because of individuals like this that you get to do that. So once again, and the veterans in our audience, please, once again, let's give them a huge round of applause. And this day is one of my favorite days because we get to honor them and spend time with them. And I want to thank everybody here that takes the time and effort to make this day possible. Mrs. Cessna and her students served the meal. Our cafeteria ladies cooked a wonderful meal. Sorry for you that didn't get to enjoy it, but everybody who did, it was a very good meal, and thank you, Mrs. Cessna, and your students for serving it. Thank you to our student council and our wonderful band. Mr. Rode and leads a wonderful group of kids, and they've been practicing and practicing down in the band room, so they were ready for today's ceremony. Mr. Marino in the back, he's probably not happy that I'm announcing him, but thank you, Mr. Marino, and to Connor Crowley and Mr. Murphy, who are also helping. This is being live streamed for families who could not come. This will be posted on our Facebook page, so the people who could not be here with us today get to also enjoy this ceremony. So thank you to them who had a lot of setup. Mr. Gramling, we'll thank him even though he's on a cruise ship in the Caribbean. We will thank him because he helped set everything up and helped make it possible that we could live stream this today. I mentioned our Facebook page. Mrs. Dolney down here in the front posts everything on our Facebook page, her and her social media class. So thank you to them because everybody likes to look at our pictures and see the ceremony, and without them, it wouldn't be possible. Mr. Dalton, our veteran, our Penns Manor veteran, and our maintenance staff. The building is clean. The building is ready for today. The gymnasium was set up for our veterans, and that doesn't happen on its own. So thank you to Mr. Dalton and the maintenance staff. And last but not least, thank you very much to Mr. Dave Fulton. Can we give a round of applause to Mr. Fulton? Mr. Fulton is a history teacher here, for those that do not know him, and Mr. Fulton started this program many years ago, and he is the person who is behind the scenes and organizes it. He gets the speakers, he does the slideshow, and he is the mastermind behind all of this. And this is a tradition that we hope to continue, and someday when Mr. Fulton leaves us and for sunnier days in retirement, we're hoping that we can continue this tradition, because this by far is one of the best things that Penns Manor does for their community. So thank you all, thank you for coming, and to our veterans, happy Veterans Day, and thank you. I guess I have to be the one that dismisses you all back to class, don't I? So at this time, we will let this side, grades 6, 7, and 10, you may exit out the back doors to the right. Please be careful. On this side, our back students, grades 8 and 9, you may exit out those doors.